Molly McNearney, Jimmy Kimmel's wife and head writer, went public on this topic recently, so I feel it's fair to comment respectfully in public. She says she's lost relationships with relatives because she wrote them an email before the election with 10 reasons why they shouldn't vote for Trump, and some still didn't obey. So, 10 reasons. I can think of 100. But I would never present it to someone as an ultimatum. Ultimatums don't make people rethink their politics, they make them rethink you. Somewhere along the way, my values became code for I'm the only one with a moral compass. You know what would have been a better exercise? Write a top 10 list to yourself where you try to imagine 10 reasons why 77 million Americans didn't want to trust you with taking power. And I say that as someone who votes Democratic. As I like to remind my very pure friends, we voted for the same person. You're just why she lost.
Crack has emerged within the MAGA movement after the resignation of Republican Congresswoman and former Trump ally Marjorie Taylor Greene. Joining us live from the United States is our analyst Michael Ware for this and more. Good to see you, Michael. Thanks for your time. So, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's not a central player in the grand scheme of things, but she did tick a lot of MAGA boxes. Epstein, military interventionism, which is growing. But are the cracks there?
Well, isn't that the great question here about Marjorie Taylor Greene's announcement this morning that not only is she not seeking re-election in the House, but she's not going to run for president in the next cycle? I'd put a question mark or an asterisk on that one. Look, Marjorie Taylor Greene is really a canary down the mine. She wasn't just MAGA, she was a MAGA flag bearer. She loved President Trump and President Trump loved her. But what she symbolises is that within this incoherent thing that is the MAGA movement, there are certain core principles that President Trump doesn't necessarily align with, especially now that he's in office. And she represents those core principles. At the top of that list of principles was releasing the full Epstein files. In many ways, she was pivotal to forcing Donald Trump to do an about course, a complete reversal, and agree to sign the bill, if presented to him, to release the full Epstein files. But as you touch upon, it's military interventionism and other things. She also represents the MAGA drive for affordability, which President Trump, in all the polling, is completely underwater on. He's losing big time on the economy. He's even losing on immigration, and she was a huge proponent for immigration reform. So on some of these core MAGA principles, President Trump is getting smacked about in the polls. Marjorie Taylor Greene stood up to him very publicly, more so than any other MAGA stalwart has, and she won on the issue, the Epstein files, but perhaps she's lost out overall because President Trump said, I'm not going to support your renomination and I'll back someone who's going to run against you. And she seems to have crumpled in the face of President Trump's might within the MAGA movement.
So more broadly, Michael, I mean, year two of term two is upon us, and as one congressman said overnight, Trump is still the biggest dog in the pound. But I mean, this comes for everyone. I know Trump is different gravy, but are we approaching lame duck status soon?
It's funny you mention that because that term is being thrown around, that President Trump may become a lame duck president. Because if you believe the polling and the political currents right now, the Republican Party, led by President Trump, is coming up for a shellacking in the midterms in about a year. And so that's when he become a lame duck. If he lost the House and can't control the Senate or loses the Senate, President Trump is completely powerless. So yes, the possibility that President Trump could become a lame duck is actually being spoken of here in the United States. And like I said, his polling is so underwater, a snorkel wouldn't help him right now. And that's a crisis he and the party have to address before the midterms.
So at what point, and maybe we're seeing this now with Marjorie Taylor Greene, at what point do the loyalists fracture and then conspire as they jockey for their own futures?
Yeah, well, only time will tell, because the great question is, if you're a MAGA member of the House of Representatives on a 2-year term, are you more fearful of the president or are you more fearful of the MAGA base? Because, Trump may disown you or he may support you, but what's first and foremost in your mind as a candidate is getting the votes extracted yet again from the MAGA base. And the MAGA base no longer exactly aligns with President Trump's principles or his agenda. I'm telling you, even MAGA voters are leaving him, if you can believe the poll.